Welcome again to Did You Know? We are busy with a series of episodes on the 4 warriors whose statues are in front of the cuts in the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town. In the first episode, we discussed Doman. In the second one, Langa Libalele, King Langa Libalele. And today we're going to talk about Sekhukhune. And once again with me is Sonwabile Maxebengula. And welcome again, Sonwabile. And thank you for sharing your knowledge about these warriors.
Thank you, Mrs. Duplessis, and thanks for having me. And once again, hello to the viewers. I'm back.
Good. Let's go. Who was this man, Sekhukhune, and what did he do?
King Sekhukhune, as he's commonly known as King Sekhukhune, he was born Motsibi. Motsibi means the one who knows. And he also was born on the early 1800s, approximately the same time as King Langa Libalele of Amahlubi. So King Sekhukhune, as I mentioned on the second episode, that the 1800s, that was the century of land dispossession in South Africa, which was perpetuated by both the people that call themselves Voortrekkers and the British. So he was actually born and actually became a king in that century or era, if I may say. So what had happened is this: the Voortrekkers, they were just searching for land to actually to settle with their families and also farm and continue as they practice in the Cape Colony. So the fight with Dingaan on Blood River in 1838, which also just pushed them further to the north. So the other Voortrekkers under the command of Henry Potgieter tapped onto the territory of the Pedi people. So what the mighty Motsibi, he went underground. And he went underground and he defeated the Voortrekkers under the command of Henry Potgieter. And in Pedi, when you go underground, they say Wakhukhuna. So that is actually how he got the nickname. And he was now no longer famous of being a Motsibi, but he was called a Sekhukhune. So, the red race between the British and the Voortrekkers, the British also want to tap onto those territories. So what happens is the British tried also with him, and he was the British were also defeated. And then later the British recruited over 10,000 Swazis to actually to dethrone him. And then he was actually brought to the Cape, and he was detained here at the castle briefly. And then he was actually sent back to Pretoria, where he was dethroned.
So in other words, he was the king of the Pedi people. Sepedi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. He was the king of the Pedi people. But now there's some contestations or some debates of which was the rightful heir to the throne, because there was also the brother Puru, who had actually claimed to be the one that would actually was supposed to be the recognized king of the Pedi people. And it actually happened with the Zulus, Shaka, Mbande, Dingaan as well. I think it has always been a challenge, and also it's very interesting because most of the actual of the history that we have here in South Africa is actually is from the victor side or the perspective of a European. So, and no one would clearly know, but some people, I don't want to dispute the claims of the people, but it becomes a challenge for us because of those interpretations or narratives that were lost mostly from our side, because most of them were orally told. But this is actually why Sekhukhune statue is actually based at the castle. And one would also ask, why don't you have a Magoma here? Why don't you have a King Shaka here? It's because this is just a start of what we actually, as the castle control board, want to achieve, to represent each and every South African from all corners of South Africa equally.
So I thought that these four statues were basically about people or warriors that resisted the regime of the time. So, I mean,
Yes,
Ushaka did not really resist the regime. He was more putting the Zulu Nation together. So that's how I understood it.
Yes, and no, it's basically a very interesting because there's different narratives of why Shaka brought the Zulu kingdom all together, and also why the wars of scattering started. And there's a narrative that it was because of the introduction of maize by the Portuguese in that area, because maize requires lots of land and it needs a lot of water. So it's that narrative. And also and the other one is that because with slavery, the big clans wanted to bully the small clans, and then they would actually take or claim them as slaves after a battle, and then they would actually sell them in Mozambique. So by being a big kingdom, you actually get strong. And it's a pity that there's not much information that we can get from the Betanes. So the reason why we have these statues here is because these are the people that that fought against colonial forces, and they were detained here at the castle.
Great. So Duman was the only one you said who was not detained, but the other three
Yes.
were all detained at the castle.
Yes, the other three were detained here at the castle because Doman fought against the same company, which is the Dutch East Company. So you see, the three were fighting the British and the Voortrekkers.
Good.
Or the Voortrekkers. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Sonwabile, thank you very much. So we're going to next time look at the last one of the warriors, and a very interesting one as well, another king. So thank you very much for this episode, and we're looking forward to the last episode of the 4 warriors that stand at the castle.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.